Dr. Jazz.
Man, appreciate for finding the time. And I just checked yesterday. I didn't know that you have a new record coming out on ECM. And I listened to one track that was available, and it sounds killing. It's kind of continuing your solo piano explorations. And I wanted to start this talk, with this new one, Skrifum.
Yeah,
Can you tell me a little bit more about it? And I've read you've done some also again soundscaping and manipulating the sounds and.
yeah. It's I mean, in a way, it's a continuation of the previous albums that
Yeah.
I did with the Warp and Discourses, to put the piano in a kind of sound architecture that sort of responds to the piano. But this time I've gone even further in actually pulling out the sound architecture from the piano sound itself. And this we do with it's actually a piece of technology software that we have developed, me and one professor at the
Yeah, I've read
Music
it. Yeah.
Academy in Oslo.
Wow.
So it began as a kind of a question from me to him, and like, would it be possible to make this software where we could pull harmonics out of the piano sound?
Okay.
And he thought about it and he said, "Yes, I think so. Let's try." So after 2-3 months, he had already the sort of the beta version ready, and it works really well. I've been using it now for a couple of years
Oh, okay.
in concerts and for this recording now. So it's even more than the previous albums.
Yeah.
It's more that the piano sound itself is expanding somehow.
How does this work? I mean, what's the concept of this one?
Are you a bit into music technology?
Yeah, sure. I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
play guitar, so I have effects.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's Max patch, Max MSP.
Yeah.
It's and so Max is running on my laptop, and then it communicates with an iPad that I have in the piano, where I see the frequency spectre
Okay.
living, all the time as I play, and then I can sort of I can go in and pull up frequencies
On the screen, like kind
on
of.
the screen
Okay.
like
Oh,
that.
wow. Okay.
And then
Interesting.
it sends that information back
Wow.
into Max MSP,
Wow.
and it sustains these harmonics.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Wow. Okay. That's quite cool. Okay.
yeah, it's really nice.
It's fun for you also as a pianist to be able to do that. It's like
Yeah.
I have to see that live if you're ever making it around here. That
There is a video on
Yeah.
YouTube. There is a video on YouTube just shortly demonstrating
Okay,
this.
I'll check it out.
I can send you the link.
Oh, please, yeah, I would love to check it out.
Yeah.
Yeah. I wanted to go a little bit back on. I've played with Arild quite a lot now in the recent 3-4 years, and Andersen.
Okay.
And I think one of the first records I heard you on was Clouds in My Head, and
Yeah.
Arild is a little bit older than you, and how did you hook up with Arild and playing in that group? I mean, for me, that's like one of the, with Outhouse there, Arild's classic tune, and how did you end up in that band and entering the scene, like in Norway?
No, this was just a stroke of luck in a way, because before that I had been playing a lot mostly in Oslo with people of my age, late teenagers, just experimenting and putting together weird groups and playing in the clubs we had a quartet with cello, bass clarinet, and electric bass and drums.
Oh wow, amazing, beautiful.
Dark.
That's nice sounds. I love
Yeah,
that.
it
Yeah,
was.
yeah.
But then Arild had been in New York for a year, and he came home and he wanted to start this his own quartet, his first kind of uh, attempt as a leader,
Yeah.
and he wanted to pick up some young guys. So he asked me and Paul Tobson, the drummer
Mm-hmm.
there, and we were the same age. We were 19 then. And Knut Risnes, the saxophone player, and we just started rehearsing, and suddenly we were on tour in Europe. And,
Oh wow. Okay.
so I was really thrown into the touring and playing
Mm.
activity, and that's what I've been doing since.
How did you enter jazz? I mean, like even before, there's like a strong jazz tradition in Norway. I mean, for the last 60 years.
Yeah,
Did you hear like someone live, or like how did you enter jazz piano? I mean, what's
yeah, no, it was a long story actually because I was playing classical piano from
Oh, okay.
age of 10 or something like that, and then I got really fed up with that, so I stopped completely. But then I guess through listening to Jimi Hendrix and Stevie Wonder,
Okay.
so on, I've suddenly heard the Charles Lloyd Quartet, with Keith Jarrett on piano, and I heard Paul Bley, and I heard, suddenly all that music hit me really hard, and then I started to, you know, without any knowledge at all, just started to dive into it, to improvise and yeah,
Mm.
then discovering
Yeah, yeah.
more traditional stuff like Thelonious Monk and Coltrane, Miles. It expands like that.
Mm.
Um, but the way in was sort of through Black American music and then into
Yeah, yeah. Interesting. Yeah.
modern jazz.
Mm. Yeah, yeah. And since then, yeah, like you said, I checked. I think I have it like on 30 records at home. So around 30. I went through it. I was like, man, okay, you've done so much stuff.
Okay.
Quite cool. How important was Masqualero for you? I mean, I talked with Arild about that, and he said like you guys played so much, and it was one of the most important groups probably in Europe in the mid '80s. Like, how did that form?
And that formed, actually, it was also kind of a coincidence, but mainly it was Nils Petter and Tore
Yeah.
Brunborg, the horn players. They had a question from Odin, the record company, that because they were obviously very strong young talents. So the record company boss there, he asked them, "Can you make an album for Odin? Put together a band." And then at the same time, Arild and me and Jon Christensen had been just starting to look into trio playing.
Oh, really? Oh, okay.
And then, so this just happened at the same
Collapsed. Yeah, yeah.
time. The two young guys, they asked us to go to the studio and do that album, and then it was a really easy recording process. It felt like there is chemistry here, and there's fire.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
So, and when that was released, we had lots of offers for gigs and so on, and then everything started rolling. And then Manfred got interested, and we had this
Yeah.
kind of sponsorship from SAS, so we did a tour in the United States
Oh, really? I didn't. Oh, okay. Didn't know.
twice. So it was really active in a quite compact period where this was our main
Focus. Yeah.
activity and focus. Yeah.
When did you start leading bands? Was it already earlier, or like? I mean, I checked some of the earliest records I have by you. It's like beginning of the 90s. Did you already
Yeah.
lead bands before? Or?
Yeah. I started. I had a trio in the late 70s,
Oh.
but never recorded. So, but we were playing mostly in the Norwegian jazz scene. And then I had a quartet with Jon Eberson, you know, the guitar
Yeah,
player.
yeah, yeah.
So we had a quartet
Mm.
for a while where I was writing a lot of the music. And then Masqualero happened, and I was also at the same time working with Oslo 13,
Yeah,
which was for me a kind of a school in composing
that was an
for
important one. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
larger ensembles because I didn't have any education at all. So, so for me, it was when I got the chance to join that group, I started writing a lot and just pouring music into that, and then discovering what worked and what didn't work. And so then, after leaving Masqualero, I had a commission. This was 1988, I think,
Mm.
for a festival in the north of Norway, and then that was the music that later was released as Non-Centration.
Yeah,
So that was in a way the start of the
your
lead.
band leading story. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And Oslo 13 was probably a huge influence for the Magnetic North Orchestra, right?
Yeah, but the experience from Oslo 13, because Oslo 13 was a really hard-hitting energy
Yeah,
power pack. We played fast and lots of horns and
yeah, yeah.
drumming and all that. And then so starting then again to write for bigger ensembles, I really felt the need to to get the whole range of dynamics. So including the strings,
Strings. Yeah.
taking down the volume, in fact, of the horns
Mm.
to the level where it actually we could make a kind of acoustic balance with the strings, percussion, and then at the first versions were with both Audun Kleive and Marilyn Mazur,
Yeah.
but then later with Helge Nordbakken and Ingar Sak, who was like even more getting down to.
Coloring. Yeah, yeah, and yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love that band. It's so nice. I mean, it was a nice project. A beast to control. I mean, for you as a band leader, probably having
Yeah, yeah.
20 people there, man, that's like crazy.
But so many good players, so
Yeah, yeah,
it
yeah.
was a very, very rewarding task as a composer to, to develop this kind of writing that is actually not so much big compositions that I, put as a weight on the musicians, but more to make a kind of framework where
Yeah.
the individual players could
Operate, yeah, within this.
and then operate. Yeah.
Yeah. You always had this different types of non-conventional ensembles, even C1 and all this stuff. It's like
Yeah.
you always wanted to explore, I think, as a band leader, something different, which I really like. How did you decide to do C1, by the way? Because it's quite unusual for a Norwegian guy to do this in a way.
Yeah.
I mean,
No, that was it was in in 2007 or 2006 actually. I was approached by Milud Giderk. He was a Moroccan club owner in Oslo. He's really important in presenting world music in Norway. Fantastic guy. They were going to have a celebration of the club Cosmopolite.
mhm.
It was a kind of 15-year anniversary, and he wanted me to make a kind of a big piece somehow, but completely open request from him. But then I felt like I really wanted to connect it somehow to his history, like coming from Rabat in Morocco and coming to Norway as an early immigrant and establishing here and putting all his life actually into to the love of music in a way.
Yeah.
So I started looking into Moroccan musicians that I maybe could work with. And I found Amina Alawi,
Yeah.
who I felt had a kind of an expression as a vocalist that I connected to somehow. And then at the same time, I had been working with Bjarte Eike and these Baroque string players in a kind of an extension of the Magnetic North that we did in some festivals in Scandinavia with the like 24 string players. Were really
Oh wow, amazing. Wow.
Grand Magnetic. And as Amina Alaoui, she was from this Andalusian tradition that had existed in Spain, but now continues in Tunisia and Algeria and Morocco. Granati music. And then I started really reading about Al-Andalus and all that historical stuff. And this was in the aftermath of the Iraq invasion.
Yeah.
So everything sort of connected for me that this period of actually very successful cooperation between the three religions in certain periods in Al-Andalus contrasted so much to this crazy conflict making that was going on. So in a way, it became a kind of a political thing, but also musically very interesting to connect her voice and Cheridin's violin with the Baroque players and John Hassel's trumpet
Yeah.
in there, which was a gamble in a way. Could it work? Yeah, maybe.
I like that. Yeah. Yeah. Is it still alive? The C1 project? No, the last one you did was Hafla, right? Like 3 years ago or two.
Yeah, 2 years ago. Yes.
Yeah.
We are struggling to get enough
Gigs now, probably.
gigs. I mean, it's an expensive project. So it's a festival project. And after the pandemic, festivals are much more conservative and not taking any chances. And the one is still not kind of a international commercial success as such. So it's not so much happening, but it's there. The music is there. All the musicians are eager to play. So
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah, after COVID, it's changed so much. Also, I get the idea. You know, clubs in Germany and Austria and Switzerland. It went really quite down, to be honest. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
harder to get gigs. You know, I send sometimes offers to people that where I played like 5, 6 times, and they're like, "Yeah, man, sorry."
yeah,
It's so it's bizarre. It's a quite a booking wise a funny period.
yeah. It is.
Uh,
It's a funny period in many ways, but maybe people wake up and
yeah. Let's hope so.
want
Yeah,
to search
yeah.
for creative stuff again.
What about in Norway? I mean, how is it the situation in Norway, playing wise and festival wise?
It's the same, but it's a very vibrant young scene now. Like, and they all, they play for very little
Yeah,
money.
of course. Yeah,
So it's a lot of stuff going on, and many fantastic players and so on. But it's difficult to keep for anyone who is over 30 and has a family and bank loans
yeah.
and kids. It's hard to get it going.
Is there a connection with the younger generation and you guys? I mean, do these guys call you also for gigs or
Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
yeah? Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
That's
I'm
great.
participating in a couple of projects this summer with some of the young
Okay, that's good. That's great.
artists.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah,
And
no.
plus, I'm also teaching at the academy
Okay.
in Oslo, so I know them quite well, and at least those students that come out from there. And
Oh, that's
it's
fantastic.
like one of the major places for jazz students and also world music students now.
Mm, mm,
In-
interesting. Jon, I wanted to ask you about your. I found 2 CDs with you and Furio di Castri and Paolo Fresu. And how did these Italian connections happen, by the way? Because I think on one is Patrice Erard. He's from France, but
Yeah.
you know, you and the Italians. What's the story there?
No, that is, I have to think how that actually came about, but um, we did a tour with Enrico Rava
Oh, wow,
and
really?
Anders Kjellberg, Swedish drummer, and Furio and me
Oh, wow, okay.
in Sweden. We never recorded with that group, but
Oh, that's a shame, man. Wow.
I think Furio knew me, so he asked me to join that, and I had already been playing a lot with Anders, the drummer, and he was together with Rita Marcotuli.
Ah, okay.
They were a couple. So through that connection, I played a lot with Furio in many different constellations. So he kept inviting me and then presenting me to Paolo Fresu, and we did some tours and these recordings, and yeah, we became friends in a way. And we are the same age,
Age. Yeah,
so we are like have a lot in common. So I was, Rita and Furio were some really close friends and came up to my 50th birthday.
yeah. Ah, really? Okay. That's beautiful. No, it's nice to hear in those settings because those guys play different. It's like this Italian mentality.
Yeah,
It's nice to hear in that setting. You play differently also on those albums. I think it's nice.
Mm.
Mm.
Have you heard the the record with Javier?
Girotto, yeah, and Pierre Favre. I think it's on drums
Yeah,
on
yeah.
that one. Yeah, a beautiful record.
Mm.
Yeah, I love Javier. He's such an underrated player, man.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
No, Patrice is on that one.
Yeah, Patrice is on that and
Javier is on with the one.
on the Mythscapes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's nice playing. Beautiful tunes also and beautiful stuff. Yeah, nice. Jon, what's on the schedule for you for this year? I mean, touring wise, or I mean, you have this record coming out end of February, but
Yeah,
what are the plans of promoting it or touring or?
At first I'll do a kind of a release concert in Oslo here in March, mid-March. Then I'm working now on a tour in Japan,
Oh
actually.
wow, beautiful.
It seems like it's happening. There are different people working to set up some concerts. And also some festivals that are more contemporary in a way in Norway, the Ultima Festival and one really nice festival called the Tron Talks, which is kind of a gathering of philosophers and writers,
Wow, beautiful.
musicians, and so kind of a discussion, lots of panel discussions. And so there will be definitely a series of solo concerts. And I have been writing a piece for 6 vocalists
Oh wow, okay.
that will be performed in a festival. It's a kind of a ecological gathering of people, also kind of a gathering of writers and philosophers and people that are connected to the environmental
Nice.
issues in a way. So this will be performed outside with 6 singers.
Wow, fantastic, huh? Fantastic. And I wanted to ask you before already that like working with for ECM already for 50 years, how is it like for you working with Manfred? You know, how much does he influence, let's say the last record, because he's famous of, you know, kind of making the orders, and how do you work with him?
Yeah. No, I worked when in we've had a different relationship because he picked me up as when I was quite young, actually.
Yeah.
And he wanted me to do sort of my first solo album, which I recorded with Jon Christensen and Thomas Stanko, trumpet. But that was not a good process, and I was, of course, very unsure of myself. So it ended up not as not released album.
But there are recordings then of that?
There are recordings.
Oh man, shit. Come on, Thomas and Jon, there's like 2 of my favorites. Oh man.
No, there are some tracks that are really good with fantastic drumming from Jon Christensen. But it was a kind of a record going into many directions. So I actually asked Manfred not to release it or to give me another chance and so on. And then he said, no, I've spent too much money on it. So we had a kind of a cold relationship for some years, 3-4 years, I think. And then I recorded the Non-Centration album by myself. Applied for it. I got some support from Norway, and then he heard about that, and then he wanted to hear it, and then he wanted to release it, which was fantastic for me.
Sure, yeah.
But then it was already mixed and finished. So I went into the studio with him and mastered it and so on. And then he has been involved in most of the records after that, including C1, where he was really constructive and very. I was really happy that he was there. But both Warp and Discourses and this last one, I had recorded and sort of mixed most of it already when he came in, and then had opinions what of the material to choose and what to take out and which order and so on. So he has been a kind of mastering producer, you might say.
Interesting.
But I have a really good relationship. I've had that since non-centration, actually, since late
90s. Yeah.
early 90s.
Interesting. Oh man, that record with Thomas and Jon, man. Oh, come on, you have to re-listen to that just to.
Yeah. No,
Really
it would be
amazing.
interesting to maybe to release it as a EP on vinyl, maybe.
Yeah.
It could be nice.
Amazing players. Yeah. By the way, do you have any plans of coming to my part of Europe, like Central Europe, Austria, Italy, Germany, Slovenia?
We had a standing invitation from Skopje, from
Okay.
Oliver.
Yeah.
But then he had financial problems, and you know, he couldn't really risk taking this huge group. It was for the C1 project, so that didn't happen. And apart from that, no.
Not yet. Drop me a line if you're gonna be close that we
Yeah.
get together for a beer or something.
What's the main festival in your country now?
I think we have Ljubljana Jazz Festival. That's the main. And the closest is like good gigs are, Porgy and Bass in Vienna. That's probably a good one for you guys. But yeah, not so many really well paid gigs, to be honest. It's like really, like everywhere. It's like scattered all over. You would have to.
But how about places that are sort of, for this solo piano thing, I'm searching for this kind of connections between visual art and
Yeah, I can, but you need an acoustic piano, right?
Yeah.
That's
a
that's a problem. It's like I'm thinking like, oof, only in Ljubljana maybe that's a possibility in one place. I can send you a link to one promoter and maybe try it.
If you have some ideas.
Yeah, or the festival. The festival is probably the only place where they could afford an acoustic piano, to be honest. So
exactly.
Otherwise, it's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's super. Cool, man. I'll leave you a nice Friday.
Yeah. You too.
Well,